Hell's Paradise Season 2, Episode 4 is one of those episodes that doesn't scream for your attention, but instead slowly tightens its grip around you. It's quieter than what we've come to expect, less explosive on the surface, but far more unsettling underneath. This episode isn't about who hits harder. It's about who's breaking and who's learning how to survive what Shin Senkyo is truly demanding from them. From the very start, the tone feels heavier. The island no longer feels like an enemy you can fight. It feels like a system you either adapt to or get erased by. Episode 4 leans hard into that idea, and it does so by slowing things down. Not to waste time, but to make sure every decision, every line of dialogue actually matters. Gabimaru continues to be the emotional core of the story, but what makes this episode interesting is how little he speaks. Instead, we see everything written on his face. There's a constant push and pull happening inside him, the trained assassin who knows killing is the fastest solution, and the man who desperately wants to hold on to the humanity he discovered through his wife. There's a brief hesitation in one key moment, barely a second long, but it's powerful. That pause tells us that Gabimaru hasn't fully made peace with who he is yet, and on Shin Senkyo, hesitation is dangerous. The island doesn't care about your trauma. It only reacts to what you do in the moment. Meanwhile, Sagiri quietly steals this episode. She doesn't have a big flashy fight or a dramatic speech, but her growth is unmistakable. Episode 4 shows Sagiri thinking ahead instead of just reacting. She's observing Tao more carefully, understanding that it isn't just power, it's balance, discipline, and intent. And unlike many others, she isn't trying to dominate it, she's trying to understand it. Visually, the anime does a great job showing this change. Her posture is firmer, her gaze is steadier. She looks less like someone being dragged through hell and more like someone learning how to walk through it on her own terms. And that brings us to Tao itself. This episode makes Tao genuinely terrifying. Up until now, Tao felt like a mysterious energy system with strict rules. Episode 4 reframes it as something much darker. Tao demands alignment, not just of the body, but the mind and spirit. And if those things aren't in sync, Tao doesn't simply fail, it backfires. There's an unspoken implication throughout the episode that mastering Tao may require sacrificing parts of yourself, your fear, your doubt, maybe even your empathy. And that question lingers in the background. If you lose those things, are you really surviving or just becoming another monster the island created? The supporting characters also feel more fragile here. No one is safe, and no one feels fully prepared. Even experienced fighters are clearly struggling to adapt, which reinforces one of Hell's Paradise's strongest themes, that raw strength means very little in a world governed by rules you don't understand. The pacing choice here is bold, and it pays off. Instead of overwhelming us with non-stop action, the episode lets tension build naturally. The silence between scenes feels intentional. You're constantly waiting for something to go wrong, and that anticipation becomes its own form of horror. By the time the episode ends, you're left with a sense of pressure rather than relief. There's no victory here, no clear win, just the realization that things are about to get much worse and much more personal. Season 2, Episode 4 doesn't try to impress you with spectacle. It impresses you with control, with confidence, with the understanding that Hell's Paradise works best when it leans into psychological tension and character-driven storytelling. If the rest of the season continues in this direction, then we're not just heading towards bigger fights, we're heading towards harder choices. And on Shin Senkyo, those choices don't just decide who lives and who dies. They decide what kind of person you become if you survive. And that's what makes this episode so effective. It doesn't shock you, it unsettles you. And that lingering discomfort, that's Hell's Paradise at its best.